UFC 301 is this Saturday, so I'm going to be giving my prediction and breakdown on every fight on this card, going through the early prelims all the way to the main event. And let's just get right into it, starting off with Kevin Borjas and Alessandro Costa. I'm going to be going with Kevin Borjas. A lot of people are picking Alessandro Costa from what I can see. He's listed as a favorite. I mean, I like Alessandro Costa. I think he's good. All right, he's got some good low kicks. I like his combinations. I like his power, and I like his speed a lot. All right, he's got pretty good boxing, and his lot. The only guys he's lost to in the UFC are now one of them is the top three, and the other is the top 10, and both were short notice replacements. And I do think he's good. I like his hands, but the thing about Kevin Borjas is he is very very explosive. He's explosive. He has a good long. He has the 1 inch reach and height advantage. I think he can, do well enough staying on the outside and poking at him with that jab. Borjas has a really really nice whipping jab. He is a really solid 1-2. He fought Joshua Van. Joshua Van, who's fought guys like Zalgas Zumagulov and then again Felipe Bunes, both who are landing good clean shots in him. Neither one of those guys were able to crack him. But when Kevin Borjas landed that single one, would land that 1-2 flush, he would hurt Joshua, and he dropped him in the first round. Kevin Borjas does good moving along the outside, and I don't think Alessandro Costa is like a Joshua Van, where he can just do this. He could just have the same exact output that Van has. Think about it. Borjas landed, I think, 110 significant strikes against Van, or at least 100. And that was him getting outpaced, and he was tired in that fight. He was gassing and getting tired from a guy who was fucking hammering away with body shots and just pressuring and breaking him. I don't think Costa can have that same output level because I think he is just a little bit more explosive and heavier handed, so I don't think he's gonna be able to have that same level of output. I he has good takedowns and he has good ground and pound too, but I don't. Kevin Borjas, yeah, he got taken down by a Van, but it was a really solid fast entry, and Van actually has pretty decent takedown entries for someone who doesn't have that much experience with wrestling. He has really really good like fast entries, and he hides them really well behind his combinations. And he won't like come out the gates shooting takedowns early on. He'll break you with the striking, and then he'll shoot a takedown on you just to break you even more in the later rounds when you're least expecting it. But and Kevin Borjas was still able to defend some of those takedowns. I think he shot like three, and he was able to defend one of them in reverse position at one point even. I like Kevin Borjas' movement. I think he keeps a good disciplined guard. Yes, he was getting hit to the body a lot against Van, but he was defending his head really well. I like his fast, explosive 1-2, and I think he can catch Costa with that 1-2, and I think he could actually probably put him away. I think I'd pick Borjas by I'd pick Borjas by unanimous decision, 29-28 or 30-27 unanimous decision, picking him apart from the outside, moving, using good movement, good kicks, and a good jab and a 1-2 to really just get Alessandro Costa. Next up, Ismail Bonfim and Vince Pichel. It's this one's Vince Pichel's gonna get fucking killed. Listen, Vince Pichel is cool. His fight against Marco Madsen when he was like, "Oh, you're in trouble now, motherfucker," and everyone heard it and they laughed. That's that's funny. Okay, he's a good guy. Ismail Bonfim is a fucking menace. Yes, he lost to Benoit Saint Denis. Two things. One, Benoit is not anywhere close to as bad as we thought he was compared to Bonfim at that point. We now know Benoit is a fucking menace. Two, Bonfim broke his arm because he said, "Yes, you hit me with a really big and strong body kick on my arm. Keep doing that. I'm gonna let you do that. I'm gonna encourage you to do that." He tried to get cocky and he fucking paid the price. I don't think he would do that a second time. And the thing is, he's fast and he's powerful. I see it's gonna be a round 1 knockout from Ismail Bonfim. Next up, Mauricio Rufy versus Jamie Malarkey. I'm picking Mauricio Rufy. Jamie Malarkey, his time is done. He's just not that good. Mauricio Rufy has some good wins over Contender Series guys. He's beat Impa Kasanganay, I'm pretty sure. Did he not? Who is this? Okay, well, we're gonna ignore this really quick. I thought he beat Impa Kasanganay. Hold on. The guy he fought and beat, the guy he beat on the Contender Series beat Impa Kasanganay. He beat, what's this guy? Njokuani? Anthony Njokuani? I don't know who that is. But all of his wins are by knockout. All of his wins are by knockout. This guy has power. And Jamie Malarkey is getting slept in the first minute by Nasrat Haqparast. Mauricio Rufy is going to knock him out cold in the first round, I think. He's just going to knock him out cold. Joaquim Silva versus Drakkar Klose. I was thinking about picking Joaquim Silva, and then, I was starting to think, this guy, he rocked. He rocked Arman Tsarukyan. Okay. What else did he do? He rocked. And that's why I stopped. I was like, oh, right. Drakkar Klose is. Joaquim Silva's getting knocked out by Ricky Glenn, and Drakkar Klose, the only way he's getting knocked out is if he decides, I'm going to run it, decides to botch a finish with Beneil Dariush, and gets caught coming in by a big, smashing overhand right. Joaquim Silva's just very inconsistent. It's hard to trust him. He's juiced to the gills, so I'm not going to say this is like a lock of the card. Drakkar Klose could definitely knock him out. Joaquim Silva could definitely end up knocking out Drakkar Klose. I think he probably hits harder than Beneil Dariush. But I don't see. Everything from Silva's game just makes me really worried to pick him against Drakkar Klose. Because Klose has beat guys like Bobby Green. He beat Joe Selecki. It's just hard to pick. It's hard to pick Silva in this situation with his inconsistencies. Because let's see who he's really beat. Okay, Jesse Ronson. Congratulations. Clay Guida. He scraped by in that fight. He barely won. Jared Gordon. He's also. Joaquim Silva's getting slept by Nasrat Haqparast. But right now, his best win on his career is Jared Gordon. What are you doing, dude? What are you doing? It's just hard for me to pick him. I'm going to go with Drakkar Klose. Unanimous decision. I think he's a smarter fighter. I think he makes the better decisions. So I'm just going to go with Drakkar Klose. William Gomez versus John Silva. I've been seeing a lot of people pick William Gomez, and I've been seeing the reasons. I watch back his fight, and I'm like, damn, they have a point. He is fast. He is tall. He is, athletic. He can make a fight boring and win it that way. I think John Silva is just a different breed, man. He's a different breed. Because let's look at this. Who do you fight? Kevin Vallejos on the Contender Series? This guy was 11-1 with 9 finishes coming into this fight. No, he was 11-0, undefeated, 22 years old, and he smoked him. Matter of fact, let's look at the stats. I'm pretty sure we can see the stats. Completely smoked him. Just like dismantled the kid. And I like Johnson. I think he's got power in his hands. And I know his debut against Weston Wilson. Yeah, that's you know it's bad when you're debuting against Weston Wilson. However, but I don't think Gomez has that killer instinct. I don't think that if he sees an opportunity to go for the KO, he's gonna take it. And I think eventually John Silva can catch him, and I think he can put Gomez away. And honestly, if he doesn't, I think he's gonna do enough to where the judges are gonna be able to rob Gomez and give it to Silva. I think that judges are gonna be willing to rob Gomez for this. And that's just honestly what I think. I think they're going to be willing to rob Gomez, and I think that Gomez, if he gets him up against the cage, if Silva gets Gomez up against the cage, and with how, with the lack of an instinct to go for the finish that Gomez has, I think Silva will be able to take opportunity, and he'll be the one going for the finish. So, I'm praying for a John Silva KO. And I think he's going to get the KO. I'm picking KO or robbery split decision. Next up, Mick Tebek Orolbai versus Elvis Brenner. I've been seeing a lot of people pick Mick Tebek Orolbai. I got to go with my boy Elvis Brenner. Listen, I've seen Mick Tebek Orolbai's, regional fights. He does have pop in his shots. He can knock people out cold. 11 finishes. I think he has all finishes. No, 11 finishes. Yeah, he has one decision. This guy has put you out cold power in his hands. Okay, I've seen him put people out cold with like one shot. It's just I think Brenner has enough of that grit to go through it, and I really think that on the feet Brenner has more power. Because Orolbai is landing clean, clean, massive overhand rights that whip your head around. Brenner knocked out Kenyon Khrushchevsky, a big 155er. Who, let's be fair, he didn't even have to cut. That guy didn't have to cut weight. They fought at 160, and Brenner landed a grazing overhand left to the back of the. To the back of the side of the head, right behind the ear, and slumped him out cold. Then again, Khrushchevsky could just have no fucking chin, but we don't know that yet, so I'm going to use that. I like Brenner. I like how much... I like his grittiness. I like his inside boxing. I like the fact that he's able to withstand some of this damage and go through and push forward. And I like his power, and I think... Uros Medic was cracking Mick Tebek Orolbai, and then again, Uros Medic is probably faster and hits harder than Elvis Brenner. But Orolbai was... After hearing what Uros Medic said, saying, I didn't do a single day of grappling in my camp for my last fight before I got my opponent switch, that makes... And he was kind of struggling to keep Medic down. Orolbai was struggling to keep Medic down. And Brenner was taking down Goran Kutateladze. It's just... I really think Brenner can get this done, and I'm trusting that he gets this done. People are picking Orolbai. They have Orolbai as the favorite. This is a fight that I like as an underdog. I like Brenner as an underdog. And I think he can get this done. I'm picking Elvis Brenner by round 3 KO. Next up, Jack Shore versus Joanderson Brito. I'm gonna go with Joanderson Brito, and I think that should be the general like pick, because Jack Shore, he's coming up in weight. He hasn't fought in a while. He hasn't fought in over a year, and he's soft bodied at featherweight. Doesn't have the most muscle mass. It kind of went from not even like, oh, I'm gonna bulk up to featherweight. It's just I'm just not gonna cut weight for featherweight, so I, do better. Joanderson Brito is a fucking muscular, athletic freak of fucking nature. Massive, massive power. Crazy explosive capabilities. And I'm going to be completely honest, I think Jack Shore is going to get knocked the fuck out. Because I think Jack Shore is really good. I will say he is really good. He has good striking, and I like his grappling and submissions. Joanderson Brito is just, the guys he's beating now is, he has a win over Jonathan Pierce, he broke Jonathan Pierce's 5-fight win streak. He beat Lucas Alexander, which that win has aged actually pretty decently. Who else did he beat? He slumped Andre Feely in 30 seconds. That is a good win. I don't see Jack Shore having really much for Joanderson Brito, like, that Brito can't deal with. If he's going to try and take him down, Brito's going to crank on that arm and bring him right back up, and he's going to get the dig for the underhooks and throw Shore up against the cage. And if Brito gets a hold of a choke, you best believe Shore's going to sleep. I just don't see anything that Shore has for Brito. And I think Brito's going to sleep Jack Shore out cold. I think it's going to be bad, and it's going to be sad to watch. Next up, Caio Borralho versus Paul Craig. A lot of people are looking at this and thinking, man, this guy's 5'10". Paul Craig could beat him. Paul Craig can beat him. No. See, something weird about the UFC is they like to lie about this guy's height. This guy's been in the UFC for 5 fights and they still can't get his height right. Caio Borralho is... The guy's like 6'1", 6'2". And he's kind of a fucking unit. First off, I know he can fight out of both stances really well. Well, maybe not really well, but I know he can fight out of both stances at least decently. Because he says he chooses to fight southpaw. He's not naturally a southpaw. He chooses to fight southpaw. So he's actually right-handed. And he has good takedowns. He ragdolled Mikhail Olajaychik. He ragdolled Makhmud Muradov. He ragdolled... He was actually beating Abuz Magomedov tit for tat on the feet. I like Caio Borralho. He's fucking good. He's really fast. He's a good karate style. I like his low kicks. He has decent power. I think it's just the fact that he likes to go tit for tat sometimes. I think Borralho is gonna I think he's gonna knock Paul Craig out. Because I don't think he's dumb enough to go to the ground with Paul Craig, knowing the risk that this guy can just throw up a submission at any time. Paul Craig is one of the best guard specialists, so Caio Borralho is definitely not going to go and take it there. Borralho is just going to beat the shit out of Paul Craig. I think it's gonna be similar to fucking, what was it? Allen versus Craig. It's gonna be similar to that. And Paul Craig, he's 36, he's aging. I think his time is up. I like Paul Craig, fun fighter. Borralho's gonna beat him up, man. It's sad, I know, but it's the truth. Next up, Michael Pereira versus Ihor Potieria. Pereira is gonna smoke him. If I had anyone as my lock of the card, it's Michel Pereira. He's fucking nasty. Like, if you look at his career before middleweight in the UFC, he was fighting welterweights. He was on a 5-fight welterweight win streak with no finishes. The only guy he finished was Danny Roberts in his debut by getting a flying knee and landing a flush straight right. But then he goes up to middleweight, smokes Andre Petrosky in one round, which, that seems like it should happen at this point because he got knocked out by fucking shooting a takedown. But then he went out there and he smoked Mikhail Olajaychik. He went out there and he smoked on that Mikhail Olajaychik pec. No one has done that. It took him 1 minute to choke Olajaychik out cold after hurting him to the body. No one has done that to Olajaychik. And Potieria, he's losing to Olberg. He's losing to the slow, kind of plotty brute in Rodolfo Bellato. He's losing to, what's his face? Nikal Negumereanu. I don't think I don't think he's got anything special for him. I don't think Potieria's got anything special for Pereira. And that's just what it comes down to. Honestly, that's just what it comes down to. Because he's not gonna he's not old. So first off, Michel Pereira is not gonna be slow and plotty like fucking Robert Brychek and Rodolfo Bellato. He's not fucking 40 years old like, what's his name? Shogun Hura. Michel Pereira is a big, explosive, fast, strong, powerful middleweight. Good movement. And Potieria at this weight, he was eating some shots off Brychek. Michel Pereira is going to beat him to the body. He's going to hurt him to the body. And I think he's going to knock out Potieria. I think he's going to hurt him to the body. And you know what I see? I see him hurting him to the body. And then I see him either landing a flying knee after hurting him to the body. And like Potieria like crumples against the cage. Or I see him hurting him to the body. And then I see him like Pereira just like smashing knees to Potieria's head in the clinch. And then just putting him out cold. First round knockout Michel Pereira. Next up, Anthony Smith versus Vitor Petrino. Vitor Petrino is just better athletically. None of Anthony Smith's wins are aging well. In his last fight, or 2 fights ago, or a fight ago against Ryan Spann, he was struggling. Barely beat him. And if you look at the real Anthony Smith, this on paper Anthony Smith, Bogdan Guskov that we've been so graciously been waiting to see, he knocked Ryan Spann out cold. He fucked up Ryan Spann on the feet. Sorry, Anthony Smith, you're just not that guy. Vitor Petrino's strong. He's skilled. He's young. Probably on the sauce. He's going to beat the ever-living fuck out of Anthony Smith. I was wrong about what I said about Michel. Actually, these 3 fights are my locks. If they don't win, the sport doesn't make sense. If Petrino, Pereira, and Berhayo don't win, the sport is horseshit. Actual fucking horseshit. So these are my locks of the card. Next up, Jonathan Martinez versus Jose Aldo. A part of me really wanted to pick Martinez. But if you look back at his fights, his boxing itself isn't the greatest, and we know Jose Aldo has really good boxing. Jonathan Martinez doesn't have much of a ground game, and Jose Aldo has actually a pretty decent ground game. He was able to take down guys like Rob Font and Pedro Munoz and beat them there. I'm pretty sure he took down Pedro Munoz. I know he was able to take down. Or did I say Rob Font? I meant Marlon Vera. I know he took down Marlon Vera, and he was able to beat Marlon Vera like that. I don't see Martinez being able to smash the leg kicks like he did against Adrian Yanez and just put Jose Aldo like that. I think if anyone's got the perfect technique to check kicks, it's Jose Aldo. And I think he's going to be able to catch Martinez early on. And Martinez cuts a lot of weight to make bantamweight. He's a big bantamweight. But Jose Aldo's, I think, bigger and I think a lot heavier handed. And I think Jose Aldo's going to end up knocking him out in the first round. I really do think so. So I'm picking Jose Aldo round 1 knockout. I think he's going to be able to land a big, clean hook on Martinez's chin. I think it's going to put him out cold. Jose Aldo round 1 knockout. Next up. Fucking let me pause this shit, bro. I don't fucking care. Sorry, Whitaker. Steve Erceg versus Alexandre Pantoja. A part of me really wants to pick Pantoja, but actually, majority of me really wants me to pick Pantoja. But Steve Erceg, I just see him getting it done. Here's the thing. I can see Steve Erceg weathering an early 2-round storm. And just Pantoja, bringing fucking swinging hooks. Fucking backing him up against the face. Putting on a pace the early rounds. And I see Steve Erceg weathering that storm. And then after that, because we see Pantoja in his fight against Royval, he was tired from rounds 2 to 5. He was tired. Erceg, I think he's in those later rounds, he's not gonna get just dragged to the ground by some inside body trip, and he's not gonna be able to, and he's not gonna just get stuck in half guard when Pantoja's tired. I think he's going to be able to beat him on the feet later on. I think Erceg is just the better striker. I think he's going to be able to beat him up. I think he's going to be able to beat him on the feet later on. And I think he's going to be able to stuff the takedowns later on. And I think maybe rounds 3 through 5, Erceg is going to beat Pantoja. And I think Erceg's going to win a unanimous decision. I'm picking Erceg by unanimous decision, baby. 48-47. And new Steve Erceg, baby. That's what I'm picking. Official pick. You can doubt me if you want. You can pick Pantoja all you want. It is what it is. But that's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me your picks down below. See ya.